Christopher Nolan's 2017 movie Dunkirk is a claustrophobic experience. The movie was wildly successful at the box office, and it really makes you feel the intensity of the Dunkirk evacuation during World War II, when the British forces had to flee France and go back to English shores. But how does the movie create the feel of being trapped, constrained, to be unfree? How does it create the claustrophobic experience? Some of the answer to that question is quite easy. Throughout the movie, you see intense close shots of characters trapped in cockpits, in boats, in trains. Even on the beach, characters are constrained by various formal elements in the frame. All the barriers and the walls and even the two-dimensional lines make it feel like the characters can't move anywhere. To make it worse, frequently the characters are faced with the threat of drowning, of going underwater. There's water everywhere in this movie, of course, and since the movie is obviously about going across the English Channel, the threat to these soldiers, and really the threat to the viewer, is that you will drown. Now, these tightly framed, close shots help explain a lot of the claustrophobic effect, but there's something else, something I think that's maybe even more important, and it's something that almost nobody will notice unless they're looking for it. One thing that's really adding a lot of power to the claustrophobia of this movie is the consistent high horizon lines in each and every shot. Throughout this movie, you see horizon lines where the sky meets the water ordinarily, and those horizon lines will be high up in the frame. They'll at least be halfway up the frame, or even much, much higher, even sometimes close to the top. Almost every shot in this movie has a high horizon line. Go ahead and randomly select any part of the movie or any shot, and you will find a shot with a high horizon line. But what does that exactly mean? Well, to explain that, and there's something really interesting going on with this movie, film scholars have assigned values to different parts of the frame. They typically say that the bottom part of the frame is lighter, while the top part is heavier or weightier. This makes sense because things at the top of the frame seem more dominant, while things at the bottom seem less dominant. In common landscape compositions, the top part of the frame dominates the bottom. Think about shots of the American West in westerns. The sky, taking up the top part of the frame, tends to dominate the composition. The bottom part of the frame contains the ground, and the horizon line is somewhere, usually in the lower part of the frame. This, I think, is the most natural kind of shot involving the horizon line. We usually see these lines in the lower part of the frame. That allows what's on top, usually the sky, or even mountains or the sun or moon, to dominate what's below. Low horizon lines in compositions, such as movie shots, tend to seem natural, serene, happy, and pleasant. By contrast, high horizon lines are a bit unnatural. They show that the bottom, or weaker part of the frame, takes up what should be the space that the stronger part of the frame should occupy. I think that the compositions that have high horizon lines do tend to be a bit unbalanced. Certainly, if you have many hundreds of compositions with high horizon lines in a 100-minute movie, such as Dunkirk, you're indicating at the least that something is off, unbalanced, or unnatural. The bottom parts of the frame, being so burdensome in Dunkirk, have a lot of meaning to them. For one thing, there's a threat of drowning in this movie over and over again. When the horizon line is so high up, the bottom parts of the frame feel weighty. And just as that shot feels weighty to you, the viewer, so the characters have the threat of sinking, falling down into the water and drowning. They are literally heavy, and they're going to fall down instead of go up. The same thing is true of the shots of the planes. There's a threat that the planes could be shot out of the sky or even just run out of fuel and fall down into the ocean. For every character in this movie, there's the threat of sinking down. So to have high horizon lines consistently in this movie throughout the entire movie adds that extra dimension of making you feel like the characters, yes, could fall down or sink and die. As well, all the characters, at least the English characters, are trying to go home in this movie. Home is on the horizon. It's that space far away that they can barely see, but they can see it. across the English Channel. And yet, the way to get there is to go across that really heavy element that's dominating their field of vision. When you put the horizon line so high up, it makes home feel far away, even unattainable. And it makes the space you're going to traverse, which is the English Channel in the case of this movie, feel like it's very hard to get across. I think these are some of the reasons why Christopher Nolan used consistently high horizon lines in Dunkirk. But it also makes the few shots that have low horizon lines have extra power. Very rarely in this movie do you see a landscape shot with a low horizon line. Such a shot feels more natural, it feels calming and soothing, and I think in context in this movie, each of those shots feels extra calming and soothing. There are a couple of shots about 30 to 40 minutes in the movie where the Mark Rylance character is featured in low horizon line shots. Each of these moments gives this character a lot of power and weight. What he's saying, he seems to know really well, and we have confidence in him.
Greatest plane ever built.
Didn't even look.
Rolls-Royce Merlin engines. Sweetest sound you could hear out here.
Of course, this character is an ordinary British citizen who is part of the effort to go rescue the English soldiers from France. These low horizon line shots of the Mark Rylance character, I think, set us up to have confidence in this character's ability to pilot a boat and to go rescue the soldiers, even though this is a dangerous war scenario. Another moment when you have a low horizon line shot is when Tom Hardy's plane near the end of the movie attacks the German plane and saves the soldiers on the mole or the beach in northern France. It's a great moment of relief from the heavy burden being placed on these soldiers who are under fire the entire movie by German planes. When the English plane is able to down the German plane, that low horizon line shot gives that plane so much power and grace. One more low horizon line shot is the very last shot we see of the Kenneth Branagh character, who plays a general who stays behind and is going to help the French fight the Nazis in northern France. The last shot of the Branagh character, he's high up on a pier, he looks tall and majestic, he's fading away into the distance, and then we have a low horizon line shot, making us feel comfortable with the possibility that he might be able to survive and in fact help the French fight the Nazis. Now, what's interesting about Dunkirk is the movie does not end with natural, calming, soothing shots. The ending features no horizon line shots, and in fact, the ending is still about the cramped, claustrophobic atmosphere of the beginning of the movie. One of the main characters is on a train, but you see him in this tightly constructed, tightly framed shot in the train while he's reading the Winston Churchill speech. Another shot is of the Tom Hardy character getting captured by the Germans. And in that shot, too, you see high horizon line shot. What does this mean, and why does the movie end in such a way as it began? I think it's because the Dunkirk evacuation was in a way a failure, and it's a way of the beginning of the war and the defense of Great Britain. What's on the horizon is fighting the Nazis and defending the homeland, that is, of the English. The situation is weighty, the horizon seems far in the distance, and maybe not achievable. The movie leaves you with feelings of discomfort and unease at the situation of England right after the Dunkirk evacuation. So I think the strategy of these high horizon line shots combined with the claustrophobic shots give Dunkirk the great atmosphere of what it's like to experience war and to barely survive, and what it might have been like for those British soldiers during the Dunkirk evacuation to barely escape. They nearly didn't make it, they nearly drowned, they nearly didn't get home, and every single high horizon line shot is saying exactly that. Thanks for watching this. Please watch my other Understanding Movies 101 for basic information about movies. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. I appreciate you liking the video and leaving me any comment you want. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.